The whispering trenches. The sun had just set when Private Ryan and his squad were ordered to hold a position in an old, abandoned trench near the front lines. It was a place they had been told to avoid, but supplies were running low, and there was no choice. The trench was eerie, quiet in a way that made their skin crawl. The usual sounds of battle, gunfire, artillery, shouting, were strangely absent, replaced by an oppressive stillness. Ryan stood guard, trying to shake the unease crawling up his spine. The air smelled stale, heavy with the stench of rotten decay. He glanced over at his comrades, Sergeant Miller, Corporal Harris, and Private Jenkins. They were all silent, eyes scanning the dark horizon, where nothing moved but the wind. Suddenly, Ryan heard a whisper. It was faint, almost too soft to catch. He glanced around, but no one was speaking. He shook it off as his imagination, the stress of the war getting to him. But then it came again, louder this time. "Help, help me." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. The voice sounded close, very close, but when he looked, there was no one there. "Did you hear that?" Ryan asked, turning to Miller. Miller raised an eyebrow but didn't respond. Instead, he motioned for everyone to keep their eyes open. "Keep your guard up," he muttered, though Ryan could tell even Miller was on edge. The whisper came again, this time unmistakably close. "Please. I'm stuck, help." Ryan's blood ran cold. The voice sounded like it was coming from deep within the trench. Without thinking, he dropped down to his knees and crawled toward the source, his rifle still clutched tightly in his hands. The others followed, though reluctantly, their faces twisted in concern. "Ryan, stop. We don't know what's down there," Harris hissed, grabbing his arm. But it was too late. Ryan was already crawling forward, the darkness swallowing him whole. His hands trembled as he reached the end of the trench and peered into the shadows. There, half buried in the mud, was a soldier's body. His uniform was tattered, his face contorted in agony. He was alive, his chest rising and falling weakly. "Help me," the soldier moaned. Ryan's instinct screamed at him to retreat, but the soldier's eyes, wide with terror, held him in place. Then, as Ryan leaned closer, the soldier's hand shot out, grabbing him by the wrist with an unnatural strength. Ryan yanked his arm back, but it was too late. A dozen more hands shot up from the mud, decayed, skeletal, and covered in blood. They clawed at him, pulling him toward the rotting corpses beneath the earth. Screaming, he tried to break free, but the hands were relentless, dragging him deeper into the muck. "Ryan!" Miller shouted from above, but his voice was distant now, muffled by the earth and the weight of the hands pulling him under. The last thing Ryan saw before the darkness overtook him was the soldier's face, now smiling, a grin that was as twisted and empty as the grave. And then there was nothing but silence.